Hey y'all. So, I'm gonna review the Elimination Chamber 2021. Now, despite its ending, this was a good show. Boy, it's for what I think of the ending, but this was a fun show. This was a short show, too. It was like 2.5 hours, maybe? It's like takeover years. I'm not saying it's on the same level as takeovers. Absolutely not. But this was a quick show. Well, it used for me and a few other people's money, this was a quick show. So to start off the night, we had the SmackDown Elimination Chamber for the Universal title. Now, stipulation of this match originally was built as, okay, whoever wins this match for the number one contender of the Universal title immediately gets a shot at Roman Reigns. They didn't mention that. The announcers kept saying they'll get a title shot tonight, not immediately after this match. But they did get a title shot immediately after the match. So I think WB kind of got cold feet about it and did really know, okay, are we going to have this right after? Are we going to have it tonight? Which I wasn't a big fan at first. I wasn't a big fan of having a Universal title match immediately after the Elimination Chamber match either. But that aside, this was a phenomenal match, despite having Baron Corbin in it. You had Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, who started off the match, just incredible work by those two. Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, and the rest I cannot remember. I'm forgetting one or two people, but Jey Uso was in the match, and I don't know who else was in the match. I'm blanking on it. I don't know why. I literally just watched it. But this match was great. It still phrasing, it was phenomenal. You had Daniel Bryan and Cesaro to start off doing some great wrestling. You had Cesaro in the you had Cesaro later on in the match. Oh, Kevin Owens was in the match too. I knew that too. I forgot. That's weird because I love Kevin Owens right now. But you had Cesaro later on in the match. He would focus in on the knee of Daniel Bryan. And you had him pick him up in like a single leg bunch of crab position, pick him up by his leg, and start swinging him. So that was great to look at and great to watch. Eventually, you had all the members of the match spamming their finishers on each other. You had a super kick to a pass to a pop-up powerbomb to a running knee to a deep six. It was just good all around. And towards the end of the match, you had Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso, which they're good by themselves. You had Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso going at it. And Jey Uso Jey Uso gets Daniel Bryan the position, hits the ass. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, how Jey Uso gets Kevin Owens out of the match is Jey Uso traps Kevin Owens' arm in the chamber fence. Well, in the chamber gate. And he masses the gate onto his arm. So it'll be good to see where it's going. So that's how Kevin Owens was eventually eliminated by a pass from Jey Uso too. But following that, you had Jey Uso got Daniel Bryan in position for a pass. He hit a pass, but Daniel Bryan kicked out. Jey Uso went to the top of the chamber, went to the top of the pod, and was gonna do a big pass right there. Which, for the record, I've noted that they stopped calling it the Super pass for obvious reasons. They just call it the pass now. It doesn't bother me, it's just something I noted. I don't know if that's a recent thing, or if they've always been doing it since the Jimmy Nuggets situation that I just never noted. But as Jey Uso was coming off the top of the chamber, Bryan gets his knee up, and Bryan hits a running knee to Jey Uso, and Bryan wins the Elimination Chamber. So that's great. Bryan's one of my favorites. Like I said, this was a phenomenal match. I'm sorry I didn't do the match move for move, but you can go to Wrestle Talk for that. I love Wrestle Talk, by the way. That's not my tower review. But, so Daniel Bryan wins the chamber. I'm celebrating and I'm hooping and hollering at the top of my lungs. As far as I can get without bothering anybody. But then Roman Reigns comes out. Roman Reigns comes out for the Universal title match. So we are gonna get the Universal title match immediately after that. Daniel Bryan gets up, Roman Reigns gets on the 3-point dance for the spear. But Daniel Bryan he doesn't sidestep him exactly. He catches him and like he lowers him into the Yesiok. It was great. I mean, for a moment you be okay, this is gonna be really competitive match, but after the hope bot, Roman Reigns powers out of the Yesiok as he should. He is bright up in like a powerbomb position. He just drops him and he starts wailing on him. And I mean, ref, get on him. You're not doing anything. I remember when referees would get on the superstars, the Iceland would like physically pull them off. But I don't blame this referee in this situation he was in. So Roman's wailing on him. And after that, Roman gets him in the guillotine and he's already knocked out, so the moot point. Roman Reigns wins, or Roman Reigns retains the Universal title. And I'm thinking to myself, it's gotta be Edge. Edge is gonna come out, Edge is gonna beat him, it's gotta be Edge. Lo and behold, Roman Reigns turns around and runs smack dab into a spear by Edge. And Roman Reigns' selling of this was great too. I mean, he was just a guttural scream, a guttural moan, a guttural reaction. It was great. So it's official. We are getting Roman Reigns versus Edge at WrestleMania for the Universal title. Some people don't like that. I completely understand why. But I think Edge is going to do the right thing. And Edge is going to put Roman Reigns over at WrestleMania. One thing I was thinking about is I've seen it floating around that Edge would beat Roman Reigns and reveal the big gold belt, the old WCW belt, or whatever a championship, put the Universal title in the trash, and that would be cool, but how much cooler would it be if Roman Reigns beat Edge at WrestleMania, which he should. I love Edge, but Roman Reigns to beat him. He won the Royal Rumble. That was a great moment, but Roman Reigns beat him. How cool would it be if Roman Reigns beat Edge and the next night on and the next SmackDown or the next Raw, he comes out, he gives the Universal title to Paul Heyman, and he brings out the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, I just think it would look so great on him, and it would also be a big add insult to injury to Edge, because a lot of people consider the World Heavyweight Championship his belt, because that's a belt you most associate with Edge. Well, depending on who you are, I guess. But I just think that'd be awesome. Next up, we had the women's tag title match. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. This was a good match. It went like 5-10 minutes. It was a good match. Reginald Kamal Sommelier toward the end of the match came out and distracted Sasha Banks. Nia hits the Samoa Jaw for the win. Yeah, like I say, this was a good match. I forgot something before that. Before that, we got the triple threat match. Matt Riddle, Bobby Lashley, and John Morrison. The new addition to the triple threat match because Casey is injured or something. We got the triple threat match for the United title. And for as short as it was, this was a great match. I mean, this made Lashley look like an absolute destroyer and an absolute killer. And I watched him in TNA. I don't know how many of you watched him in TNA, but watching him in this triple threat match, I got a glimpse of walking Armageddon. His TNA persona that I've been waiting to see him bring out, and I've been waiting to see him get out. Now, he's a good United States champion as far as that goes. I think he's way beyond where they have him at, but he's a good United States champion as far as that goes. But speaking of the United States Championship, this was a good match between all three men. Eventually, Matt Riddle gets John Morrison in the Bro Derek, and he wins the United States title, bro. And that's a good look for Riddle. I'm anxious to see what kind of matches he can have. I hope they let him have good matches, because here's the thing. If this man and the creative team as a whole will just let these wrestlers go out and do what they do best, give them a time limit, but let them go out and do what they do best, the money will be pouring in. I guarantee it. So Matt Riddle was the United States champion. That's great. I heard a rumor, I saw a rumor on the internet that now that Bobby Lashley got the US title, what if he takes out Kofi Kingston in the W Championship match and he takes his spot? And I thought that was a great idea. But that's not exactly what happened, but we'll get to that later. So next up, we have the aforementioned women's tag title match. I already talked about that. And then next up, we have the main event. Like I said, the show was easy to get through, the show kind of flew by. So we have the main event for the W title. I don't think this was as good. Sorry, my cat made a cameo. I don't think this was as good as the Universal Championship match. Not to say it wasn't good, but I don't think it was as good because I don't think Drew McIntyre did. I don't think Drew McIntyre sold himself as much as Daniel Bryan did. He was he was on the defensive more often than not, which I love Drew McIntyre and I love pretty much all the men in this match. That were Jeff Hardy, Jim McIntyre, Sheamus, Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, um Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston. Um I'm forgetting a person, I think, but just like the Universal title match, I can't remember. I'm sorry, but yeah, this was a good match. Oh, AJ Styles was in the match. I don't know how I could forget him either. He's one of my favorite wrestlers too. But this was a good match for what it was. Yeah, I can say it wasn't as good as the Universal title match. Well, Universal qualifier, I guess you could say. But it was a good match. You had some good moments in there with Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton. At one point, Randy Orton gets eliminated by Kofi Kingston in a row-up, which that's one of the problems I have. I wish Kofi Kingston would get. I wish Kofi Kingston would get a legitimate win over Randy Orton without having to fuke into it, but it is what it is. And so get that from Kofi, and there's gotta be some rules here. Randy Orton, as one might expect, goes Beatrice and RKO Kingston, RKO Jeff, and there's gotta be some rules here. There's gotta be a bunch of officials out there trying to get him out of the cage, but they're not. They're just one official saying, no, don't do that. Randy, don't do that for some reason. I mean, I know you don't have a reason to listen to me anymore, but don't do that. So, but it does lead to one of the best parts of the night. Almost, which is AJ Styles heavy, rips off AJ Styles, picks the gas window so AJ Styles can get in the Elimination Chamber. He tries to take advantage, but he fails. We get Sheamus out there with Drew McIntyre. They well on each other for a little bit. AJ Styles eliminates Sheamus. And AJ Styles sits up for the phenomenal forearm on Drew McIntyre and came on to win. I would have preferred this would have gone another 5-10 minutes, but it was what it was. It was just kind of predictable. I tell you what wasn't predictable though was almost immediately after the match, Bobby Lashley just run out there and attack Drew McIntyre, just destroying them, just brutalizes him, and leaves him laying in the middle of the ring. I was like, oh yeah, oh boy, we're getting Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley for the title at WrestleMania. Yes, we should get that. I like that. But then the Miz's music hit, and the life drains from inside of me. I mean, oh no. Tell me they're not doing this. Tell me they're not this stupid. But yes, lo and behold, The Miz pinned Drew McIntyre at the goal-cutting finale and beats him and is the new WWE champion. I turned it off after that because I couldn't watch it anymore. But yeah, The Miz is the new WWE champion. I don't know who asked for that, but yeah, we have that now. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but will Drew get a rematch? Fatty ain't. I don't know what's gonna happen, but Miz is champion now, so you know that's good for him, I guess. Um, guys, I'm sorry the ending was kind of deflating to this review, but I hated this ending. It wasn't. It was a good show, I say, but I just hated the ending, and you hate to see that. You hate to see a good show go out on a bad ending. But guys, thank you for listening to my review. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next next wrestler review.